Welcome back to... Don't leave me now.
I don't... what? Am I saying episode?
So we're not saying episode today because we don't fucking know what episode we're on.
We've lost track.
We've completely lost track. We've filmed about 1 billion of these in 2 weeks. And
we've got about 8 bagged up.
We've only just released one from God knows how long ago that I can't even remember filming today. It's currently the 29th of October, I believe. Is it 30th, something like that today?
That, yeah. 29th.
The Primo episode has just come out yesterday. Yesterday. You're probably watching this in like June 2025 because we seem to have been here a lot recently.
I think we've got about 4 or 5 episodes.
We came in to film the British one and we're going to film this one while we're here because we have got fucking loads of questions. Loads. Sorry to keep swearing. Yeah, and they're quite good questions. Some of them are relevant to post-show. So maybe we can actually release this one actually after the British one.
Yeah, we'll have to have a look at them and
divvy
them up.
And then put it back in. I don't know. Sam might be changing some episode numbers on the previously ones that we've... sorry, Sam. that we've already recorded. But yeah. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You're all talked out from the last one you did on the British update.
We've just had a big break between the two podcasts and we've been talking loads as well, so we're all talked out now. We're just going to sit here in silence. Anyone want to watch us meditate for an hour?
Did you try any of my journaling?
I knew you was going to ask me this.
It just popped into my head.
I didn't do it. I'm sorry, Leah. She gave me so much advice on how to journal when my head was packed full leading into the British.
Oh, you didn't even try it?
No, I feel like I nailed that without the journalism.
Yeah, you were fine.
Yeah, I was doing breath work.
Yeah.
1 day meditation I did, not much.
Yeah.
I
because you got me onto the YouTube meditation, what you sent me.
Yeah, did I get you onto that? It works though, doesn't it?
Yeah, I like it.
It does work. I will give the journaling a go one day.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to release all of my powers at once.
True.
What if I become like a
Leave
superhuman?
Some in the tank.
Leave some in the
what
tank.
What if you become extra productive? From
yeah,
all
what
the
if I become
tips?
extra productive? Then what's going to happen? I've already not got no time as it is.
So we're going to do a Q&A today.
Yes.
With all the...
And I put a box up.
And you got loads.
Yeah, I think I got 20. It was 22 when I got here, and I got another 3 or 4 since we've been here. Yeah. So whatever that is in maths, you tell me. About 25, 26 different ones. We can't do all of them, and some of them are actually similar questions. Yeah. So we'll cluster a few together. You know what we should do? We should send them to them and get them to put them on the screen. You know, as we're answering them. I know there's no one sat there. He's in the next.
I was like, where's there a screen in here?
I see.
I thought you meant in here. I was like, what?
No,
am I missing something?
There's only that ghost in the corner over there.
On the yeah, that's a good idea actually.
Yeah, it looked real good that one.
Yeah.
So just have to crop it real neat though, otherwise I'll have like some of the back screen in it. I'm not very good at cropping stuff neat. But we can put that up on the screen,
have a
can't
think
we?
about that.
It's just so you know we're not pretending the questions. We just come here and sit in here and we haven't actually got any questions. We just pretend.
We just make them up so we look popular.
Yeah, can you send them to yourself?
Yeah, you can. I WhatsApp myself all the time.
No, can you send them? Can you ask a question in the question box and it comes through to you?
Probably.
I'm going to do it now.
I've never tried that.
You keep talking, so I'm not just selling them.
Yeah, so we've got some on post show. We've got some on like coaching and kind of that sort of thing and
ask
how to.
Here.
What?
I'm just going to. It says ask here.
Oh, you can do it.
Send anonymous questions to Team DW. Yeah.
Oh.
Hi Dan. And Leah.
And Leah.
I hate you both. That says Kyle. Who's Kyle? I hate you, Kyle. How did both spell correct to Kyle? Fuck you, Kyle.
Don't give anyone any ideas. They might start sending hate messages.
Kyle's the dude who does my fucking artwork and stuff, so I don't know. Yeah, it's come through. Look, you have a new message to open. It's sent to myself.
Is that what you've done for your 20 messages today?
I hate you, but yeah, that's why I've got 20. Didn't do enough check-ins today. I just spent all morning messaging myself on the anonymous. Fucking hell. I'll look back on that in a few months and think, fucking hell, was that sending us messages like that?
Is that what we're
You know what my memory's like? Fucking hell, that was a bit aggressive, wasn't it?
After you've left your comment about passive-aggressive messages. Yeah, you put that comment on about getting passive-aggressive messages and you've actually got no
I didn't get any,
messages today.
Normally I do. Normally it'll be something like,
win.
why? Well, I got one. Why won't you coach vegans? I got that one.
No, but I feel
that's quite
like,
direct, to be fair. It's not passive at all.
No, I feel like that's it's quite difficult sometimes.
A genuine question.
Right, should we get stuck in? Because we've got loads and I feel like bash out as many as we can.
Yeah, so all these three are grouped together. So we've got Co-pilot.
Oh, am I saying it?
You say.
I look a fat mess post-show. Will this go away?
Read off this. We don't want to wear your problems. I'll set you over that one.
I thought you were being so serious then.
We don't want to wear your personal problems today, Leah. Read off the cards.
That is not very nice.
I couldn't help it. I just seen it there. I thought she needs to read that.
Is that why you were getting me to read it?
That's why I cued you.
Awful.
Yeah. You're going to get me back on that one, aren't you?
God.
I look like a fat mess post-show. Will this go away? Been on plan. How long will it take? You do the next one.
Best way to manage post-show when gaining weight quickly.
Coping strategies for post-show. Binging. Yeah. So binging, yeah.
So all quite similar, basically, on the post-show side of things.
Firstly, you probably don't look like a fat mess post-show. You just think you look like a fat mess.
I think everyone feels like they've just gained loads of weight post-show. Like, even if you're fine, like, because you're so used to being shredded and like having veins and stuff, you gain a little bit of body fat, you're still shredded, but you feel like you've gained like 20 pounds.
Yeah, and the fact that you've been hyper-focused, you know what it's like?
Yeah.
Every time you walk past a mirror, like looking at your abs and like checking your conditioning, every morning and night looking at your conditioning. And for months and months and months and months, you've just been hyper-focused on getting better. It's actually quite freaky, actually, how obsessive that is when you think about it. Because even after the show, you still like walk by and like, look at your abs and like, oh shit, I forgot I ain't got any abs.
They're gone now.
Yeah, because as a boy, like that, it doesn't matter. Like, I was never bothered by that. Do you know what I mean? Not all boys maybe the same, but I didn't give a shit, so it never affected me.
Yeah.
But that obsessiveness, and then the next thing, like, it's gone. Like, I get it. Do you know what I mean? So, because I'm a boy, like, you think, like, you're just like, fucking hell, it's gone. That's a bit like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, as a girl, it's obviously 10 times worse, isn't it?
I feel like what makes it, I don't want to say harder, but you know, as like when you go to the gym as a girl, you wear like little sports bras and shorts. Yeah. Whereas as a guy, like you've got baggy shorts on anyway, you're wearing baggy t-shirts. Yeah. Like when you gain a bit of weight, you just look bigger.
You actually look better.
Whereas as a girl, you've got like tight clothes on. You've probably been wearing not much in the gym because you're like, yeah, I look sick.
Check me out, check me out. That's my check me out dance. Check me out, check
That's
me
what you walk into the gym like when you're on prep as a girl.
Yeah, that's what the song in your head. Yeah, check me out.
Yeah. And then suddenly you're like, you feel you're starting to get a bit bigger, and I think sometimes
it feels worse than it looks.
Yeah.
It feels worse than it looks.
Yeah.
So how long will it take? What does it say? Will this go away being on plan? Right. The reality will remain the same, because you're not a fat mess. The way you see it will be what goes back to normal, not your body going back to normal. Best way to manage post-show when gaining weight quickly. What was the advice that I give all my clients the other day? Because this was the first time I've actually done this, but because they're all in a group chat, as you know, when everyone's competing, everyone goes into like a group chat. Nobody can talk in the group chat, by the way. It's just me that sends messages into the group chat. It's more for me to send messages out. I block it, don't I? My group chats, you can't talk.
I think I saw it once when someone put a message and you're like, guys, can you not chat in the group chat?
No, what usually happens is I'll forget that I've left it off.
Someone's like, DW has muted the conversation. Yeah. And I was
I'll forget to put it on where it's just me that can talk. And then someone will write something, I think, fuck. So I change the setting, but then it comes up, doesn't it? Dan, change the settings to silent or whatever. And the person's probably thinking, fucking hell.
I think the first time I saw it, I was like, God, that's a bit harsh.
Yeah. I'm not having group chats where they're fucking pinging off all the time. Yeah. Fuck that. They're for me. Anyway, I put like a video in there, which was basically just saying like, it basically talks through everything post-show. Yeah. And I think a lot of them found it extreme. Normally I have that conversation one-to-one with everybody.
Yeah, just repeating
Then
yourself.
This time I thought, why am I doing that with like fucking 20 people? I can just tell them all the same thing.
Yeah, makes sense.
Well, it's basically that you will mentally adjust to it, and it's normal. I think if you just remember them two things, everyone else is thinking the same thing. You're not weird for thinking it. Yeah. And your brain will just get back to normal and adjust eventually. No matter how shit you feel on that reverse. Yeah. As long as you got that, that's comforting to me. Do you know that if you're just going through something mentally and you think, right, this is what I'm meant to be going through. Yes. Yeah. Everyone else who's going through this is going through exactly the same thing. It's normal. I'd be comforted by that. Yeah. So whereas if you're like not told that and you think you're going mental, which a lot of people
and then you
do.
think, oh my God, why am I gaining weight so fast? Whereas everyone's doing that.
Yeah, so I just offered that out and that seemed to work. And coping strategies for post-show binging, which is the exact way that I do with my reverses, which probably doesn't sound great to people, but I give people so much food on the reverse plan. Potatoes, oats.
Yeah.
All
Foods
things,
that actually fill you up
all
properly.
things like that. This
Yeah.
actually make you full, because it's an infillable void post show. You're not going to get rid of that hunger, really.
I think that actually helped me a lot post show, because the first time I never got my post show explained to me at all.
Yeah.
The first time I competed. So I was like, oh my God, why am I so starving all the time? And I kept trying to eat and eat and eat to
It's
stop myself
unfillable.
getting hungry.
You can't get rid of
but
it.
then once you actually realise I'm still going to be hungry, you can kind of deal with it a bit, because you're like, okay, well,
It's not
I
gonna
know
get
it's
rid of
going to
it anyway.
settle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then if you just stuff it with all other stuff, then phone's ringing again. If you stuff it with all of us, can't concentrate while my phone's ringing. If you stuff it with all of the stuff, then
Yeah.
you just stuff in the gap a little bit.
Yeah, and also what I think is, if you're really struggling with like binging or like overeating a bit, don't have the food in the house that you think you're going to overeat on, I think, initially.
Yeah, don't have the food in the
Because like
house.
for me, like I know if I had like, I know a lot of people buy like cookies and put them in the freezer and stuff, or they'll have like Biscoff for the oats. Like for me, straight after the show, like I didn't want that in the house, because I'm like, it's like in my head a bit.
Yeah.
Whereas I'd rather just get the initial bit out of the way, and then if I want to have something, I can like go out and have it in a meal, because then at least it's like really portion controlled.
Yeah.
Whereas I sometimes feel like it's so easy to like, you creep these bits in, and then if you're just having a wobble or a bad day, it
just takes
it
you
can
like,
make
I'll
it
just
harder.
have one, and then
Yeah.
boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, so I just think like, yeah, like don't have the food in.
And don't beat yourself up. Just keep getting back on plan.
Yeah,
That's
literally
what I
what
say
you
to all
said
my
earlier.
clients. Just keep on keeping on.
Yeah.
Because what people do is then restrict.
Yeah,
And then it
it's
just
the
leads to
cycle.
more hunger. The main thing I'm trying to do from my clients post show is take away as much hunger as possible.
Yeah.
Stuff the gap, as
Yeah.
I call it.
Yeah.
And just stuff it with as much clean food as possible.
Yeah.
It's less likely to binge. And
Yeah.
if you do, just get back on plan. Just keep getting back on
Yeah.
plan. And eventually that hunger that you're feeling and that will to binge, about 3 weeks after the show, it just naturally takes care of itself.
Yeah, exactly. Because I know when I after my last show, I think we got to the point where I was on like 100 grams of oats and a load of like 30 grams of like chocolate in the evening, and that for me it helped so much knowing that I had a lot of food in the evening, because I was like, oh, I can like sit down at night, like I've done my cardio, I've done my steps, whatever, trained, watch TV, and I've got a massive bowl of oats with a load of chocolate on. Like even knowing that that's there at the end of the day, it like kind of mentally keeps you going a bit.
That's why I do it. That's
Yeah.
why I do it. And I'll put even more sometimes, 120, 130, 150 grams of oats.
Yeah.
Loads of dark chocolate, peanut butter, banana.
Yeah.
And then that's the end of the day when people are most likely to fucking go on a mad one.
Yeah.
And when you sit down in front of the telly and relax, and
Yeah.
all of a sudden you're like, I'm starving.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I do that. And like, that to some might sound counterintuitive, that you're like just ramming people with full of food loads after the show. But 9 times out of 10, if you keep people hungry, they're going to binge on pizza, chocolate, ice cream, sweets, anything they can get their fucking hands on that they really, really want. And that's going to lead to 100 times worse of weight gain and mental problems.
Yeah. Because then you're going to end up feeling guilty and stuff.
If you're a post show and for 3 weeks post show, you come up 2 kilo a week, say, right? Which people are like, fuck me, 2 kilos a week. So you're 3 weeks post show, it's gone, and you're 5.5, 6 kilos up, say. Yeah. That ain't that bad. That's not, you've been shredded out, you fucking man.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Obviously, it might be different from tone to athletic, depending on how lean you've been to make that normal. But say you're of average height, 5'4", 5'5", and you're up 6 kilo, that ain't that bad.
Yeah.
And then it settles off. And then you can pull the food back a little bit because the hunger's died off, and you can regulate everything and get everything settled, right? You've done it, for me, you've done a good job.
Yeah.
You try your hardest to come up slow. You end up binging every other day, binging, restricting, going on a mad one, feeling emotionally distraught.
Yeah.
The weight's piling on a lot quicker than that, because I'm fucking cookies and ice creams. The amount you can ram down your throat's a lot more than potato and porridge. And you're feeling shit, and you've not had all that food for ages, and your body don't like it, and you feel bloated, and like all these things. And then you 3 weeks post show, you're 10 kilos up. You've got a binging problem.
Your calories are still actually pretty low.
Calories are still low because you don't know where your calories are actually
Yeah.
sat, because you've just been left, right, and centre all over the place. Your skin's
Mm.
probably fucking breaking out to fuck because of all the processed shit food, all these things. And then you don't know where to go from there. And like then do you want to push your calories up after you've just been doing that? You're going to have head problems trying to then push your calories up. Whereas at that point, we're usually bringing the calories back down a little bit. Because you're ready for it, and you're too stuffed, and you, like all these things.
Yeah. I think that's, God, what was I going to say then? Oh yeah, that's kind of the post show, you know, when you're going through that process of like gaining weight as well, like I think the thing that makes you feel better is knowing that you're sticking to what you're meant to be doing, because mentally then you're in a good spot. Like for me, if my weight's coming up, whatever it is, I don't really care how much it comes up, but if it comes up, as long as I know I'm sticking to my plan and I'm eating what I'm meant to be eating, I feel good in myself.
Yeah.
And I think it's when you feel like out of control, that's when you like lose your head a bit.
That's what I'm trying to avoid.
Yeah.
That's
so
the main thing.
Yeah. And even if your weight's flying up, like if you're sticking to your plan, you're going to feel so much better because you know, right, I'm doing what I'm meant to be doing.
Yeah.
Like I'm eating good food. My calories are like super high. And I just think that's the biggest thing post show. Like you want to, I don't think there's anything worse than feeling like out of control with your food after your show.
And that's the problem. And that's what I'm trying to avoid.
Yeah.
So people just getting back on it, regardless of what's happened, is the key to it.
Yeah.
And I think we'll get like, I've had a lot of practice with this now. That's why I always think I'm the king of reverses.
Yeah. To be fair, or even I haven't done loads of reverses, obviously, but even like, you know, when I've done, well, actually, no, I've done a lot of reverses with people post photo shoots, and they've always gone like really, really well as well.
Yeah.
And obviously, it's a similar sort of process. It's
just less extreme because they've not been as far in.
The calories don't go obviously up anywhere near as high.
Yeah, and they probably don't come down as low.
Yeah.
To get there,
exactly.
so it's like less extreme.
So that's always been fine.
Okay, that was that group. I put another little group together that are semi-similar, but I don't think they're all clustering together.
Oh, these are.
These are a bit more.
This is kind of what you touched on
questions.
in your last one about Val and well, she didn't wake up looking terrible, but you know what I mean.
Have you ever had a client wake up on show and look terrible and wonder what happened, so the pressure is on to fix the problem in time? Yeah, no, sort of. Back in the day. So this is why I pick people the way I do, as you know how I do it currently, because that's what we've kind of done since we started. Back in the day, it was like the traditional stay low on food, load up on carbs hard for two days or 1 day or whatever, and then maybe pull back the day before the show and hope it lands. And then like, there's a lot of like, let's hope this works sorts of thing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like taking your best guess at a carb up sort of thing, which often works well, but they're never 100% reliable. Do you know what I mean? Even if you've like, practice these carb up on preps, which is fucking bollocks, because you're not leading in with the same. Why are you smiling?
Yeah, no, because
was that a bit extreme?
No, because I always heard you say before, I don't know why people do that, it's stupid.
Well, you're not working with the same body, are you?
Yeah.
It's like if you've been dieting and then like 3 weeks out and you try this carb up and you're like, that worked great.
Yeah.
Well, 2 weeks down the line or 3 weeks down the line, they're a lot leaner. The body's more sensitive. They might be lighter. You might have you've had a week off your feet. Maybe if you don't like this, you're not dealing with the same body. So why you would put in the same fucking instructions into a different robot?
Yeah, it makes so much sense. Like,
it baffles me. I don't fucking know why. So I'm quite mild with the way I knock things around on peak week. More gradually. I start at the beginning of the week, take things up, right, that's spilled them, pull it back and just kind of coast them in and freshen them up and then land it. So it's less of an extreme day before the show.
Yeah, so you've got time if things are like overshot, but you can pull it back a bit.
Yeah, if things start going a bit wrong at the beginning of the week, think, oh God, they're sensitive, and then pull things back. Or if I'm putting food in and they're not a lot's happening, I've got a chance to give it a little nudge. You know, so I'll just kind of take it like that across the week. And as you know, we never get that wrong. It just fucking don't go wrong. That's why I do it.
Yeah.
Whereas the other traditionals are a bit more hit and miss. So the chance of somebody waking up, something's gone terribly wrong on the day of the show, just doesn't happen.
Well, you're not changing enough things for anything to go wrong, really, are you? Because you're not like messing about with water and salt and all this. So there's not really anything.
That's what I mean. I'll get them to check in like roughly about time what they're going to be on stage, like from a couple of days out when we're kind of doing the final thing. Gauge if I need to add a little bit of dandelion or something like that, if there's somebody that gains a lot of water through the day, or like how I need to kind of land that. And that's the only thing I really need to take into consideration. The only thing that might happen is somebody's a little bit sensitive to dandelion, I suppose, or any natural diuretic that I am deciding to use, and they wake up a little bit flat.
Yeah.
Then I've always got fucking 7-8 hours to pull that back, which is easy enough anyways.
Yeah. Nothing's realistically going to change that much, like over one day, is it really?
Exactly,
not gonna,
how I have them looking on a Friday afternoon is generally how I have them looking on Sunday. I've kind of tinkered with that through the week to make that see. And if there's something slightly off on the Friday afternoon, I know I need to adjust something fractionally to land it. And that's how I do it. And that's why you never see us missing any peaks.
Yeah. Red flags in a coach.
Red flags in a coach. You'll be probably better at answering this than me.
I've just randomly thought of this one. But, you know, when coaches this isn't a massive one actually. You know when coaches are like, oh, I've got 24/7 replies, 24/7 response, blah blah blah,
So
and then I feel like
at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, I always think, why do coaches say, this is a really random one that just came to my head, but I'm like, why do coaches say 24/7? Because I'm like, you need to sleep. And I also think as a coach, something you should be like educating your clients on is having good boundaries, sleep management, time management, like self-care. Like that's something you should be talking to your clients about. And if you're telling your clients you're going to reply 24/7, then what message is that putting across to them?
Are you in?
Yeah, I'm like, how is this like working in your head?
It's bollocks. Nobody's 24/7, obviously. I'm around the clock around the week. Do you know what I mean? But that's like, I'll go on my phone whenever I get up in the morning, whether that's 6 or 7 o'clock. I start going on my phone, and then I'm always checking my phone until about 8 o'clock at night. And then I fucking throw it in the drawer.
But you're not going to be replying to a client at like 11:15 at night, are you? You know what I mean?
Not unless I've randomly checked my phone. But even then, I would look at it and think, cheeky bastard messaging me at 11 o'clock. Do you know what I mean? That's
what I mean. But I always think with that, if you start replying to clients at like 10 at night, what message is that sending out?
Yeah, I don't do that. Personally, I want the time to shut my brain down.
Yeah.
So I don't do that.
That wasn't a massive red flag, but it's just the first thing that popped into my head.
I don't know. Red flags, fucking. Well, reply time, like too long. What's it where people are still getting it sometimes where they're getting the check-ins back like 2 or 3 days later. You need to be getting your check-in back the same day, for fuck's sake. Like why would you not have it back the same day? I
also think someone that is like genuinely excited about their clients, and like you can tell they're like,
that's actually a green flag.
Yeah. So don't go with someone who's excited.
What's a red flag? Well, Leah said a red flag is that someone's really into my prep, they're really excited to do the job, and they're just really up there for it. So really, I'm looking for someone.
I got my flags muddled
Leah's
up.
colourblind, just so you know. Fucking hell. Yeah, that's what you want.
Someone
from
that isn't excited and is like really like just meh about their clients.
Yeah, you need to have some sort of level of fucking. I've been doing this years and years and years and years, and I still fucking get excited about it, and I still buzz off it, and things get me bouncing about. Somebody's come, like, I don't know. That's I'm quite into it, as you know.
Yeah, and it's like, even I've got 2 clients doing a photo shoot each in literally like 5 weeks, and one's on the Monday and one's on the Wednesday in the same week. And I'm going to their shoots with them and like traveling and you know, helping them and stuff.
That shows that you're interested.
But I just think, why would I not go? Like, I just can't imagine as a coach like not going to do that.
Yeah. I don't know if I was like a boy coach and I had someone doing one of them like sexy shoots, which is assuming what you might be on about.
Yes. Yeah, but for me, it's like a female coaching.
That was my sexy impression, by the way.
That was great.
You know, like sit on the box and you're like sat on the thing behind you and like that, and the bum's out and that, and then like, I don't want to be in the room when that's going on. You're like, you go do that over there. I'm just going to get you lean enough so you look all right when you're doing that.
Yeah, but for me, like, I can like be there for that stuff.
Yeah.
But
probably maybe a red flag is if the male coach maybe turns up and starts asking to put oil on. Like directing you which way to sit.
Oh God, I'm not sure how I would feel about that.
No, I don't think that'd be ideal. How many clients do you think a coach should have at the most?
However many they can cope with.
Person dependent. Yeah. I learned what my number was extremely well a few years ago. I worked all the way up and passed it, as every new coach always does. They find out where the peak limit is, and then I pulled that back down, and then I know exactly where that is now.
And everyone's going to be so different. Like, everyone's going to be different what they enjoy working with as well. How many people they enjoy working with.
Some people might want a more relaxed life. For me, I feel like, well, as you've seen with stuff, I'm very organised. So I feel like I can cope with a decent amount of people. Like you see when we're at the British, I've got 20 people. I don't think every coach can probably deal with having 20 clients at the British in one weekend. That might be quite difficult for some people, but I feel like my systems work really well. And everybody gets the right amount of time and everything like that. So.
And it depends on like other things. Like, for example, I do one-to-one calls with all my clients. Like, I couldn't do that if I had 100 clients. No,
and that's part of your service, you jump on and catch up with them on calls and all stuff like that. So you're limited with.
So it just depends, doesn't it, on the coach? And
I
always think as long as they're a good coach and they're doing what they need to be doing, doesn't really matter how many clients they have. No, as long as they're getting a good service, like, that's what matters.
Yeah, I had this, and it's something actually a few clients have said. I could name some names who've said actually, but I won't bother. But like, they didn't come to me for quite a long time because they thought I was like a busy coach.
Right.
And then they said they were fucking kicking themselves by the time they finally did come because they felt like there was their only client when it comes to the show day. Do you know what I mean? Oh, I would have clicked on there. So yeah, you'll know if your coach has got too many clients
because they'll drop
the
the ball.
fucking heads will be falling off all the
Yeah.
time, and they won't get back to you quick enough, and they might be a bit blunt, like just like do you know what I mean? One word answers and stuff like that. I've heard of stuff like that.
What do you each say to yourselves when diet phases get tough? How to embrace the suck. Love the podcast, by the way. Thank you.
What do you say to yourself? 3 words I've got.
Oh God.
Let's fucking go.
Yeah, and I also think, I don't know, I feel like when I'm dieting, it doesn't really cross my mind that it's like tough in the weirdest way.
There's certain bits of the prep all of a sudden you think, whoa, that just got a little bit harder.
Yeah, but I also think like that's when you know it's working.
Yeah, that's when like I get more amped up. When the harder it gets,
It's
more
exciting.
Like, the more intense my thinking would get.
Yeah.
And slowly you're turning obviously mental, but you don't realise it to yourself.
Yeah.
Just I don't know. I'd be thinking like they can't handle this. I can handle this.
Yeah.
Like the people I'm competing against, this is fucking shit. So they must be thinking it's shit.
Yeah, and I always think as well, like if you're doing something hard, it's because the result is going to be worthwhile.
Yeah.
Like if you're just doing easy stuff, it's not going to really get. It's like with anything. Like if you're doing stuff that's easy, you're not going to be moving forward.
No.
Whereas if you're doing something that's hard, you can be like, oh, this is hard, but it's good if it's hard because it means I'm going to grow and I'm going to get better and I'm going to.
Yeah.
There's going to be a really good result.
I'd encourage myself with a little bit of madness as well. So I'd be like, if something, when I was going through it, to get down.
Yeah.
I'd imagine like stood in a line up of 10 people and everyone's just looking at my fat glutes and laughing.
I remember you saying that before, actually.
Yeah, I used to think that quite a lot. I'd think that when I was doing cardio and stuff. And just imagine like 10 of us stood there and everyone's just looking at my backside thinking, he's a fucking lazy bastard. Do you know what I mean? Little things like that helped me anyway.
Sometimes it can help him. I know when I was doing cardio and it was like really, when I was getting to like the hard bits, when you're like, it's like hard getting through your cardio. I just used to watch like people's YouTube videos and stuff, and you know, stuff that's quite like inspiring, and that always
kill the time
and even like I got my show day. I film my show day when I run my pro card, so sometimes I'd just like watch and that used to like really like fire me up a bit, you know, like watching that back and stuff like that.
I'm not sure we had videos on our phones when I was doing cardio. Just made me feel quite old, Leah.
Sorry.
I just had a little what was they called? iPods.
Oh yeah, I used to have an iPod actually.
And you had to load the music onto it, and I was just listening to the same old fucking shit.
Yeah. And they'd be like, oh, I forgot to update my iPod.
Yeah, I can't work technology, and I'd say to my brother, just put some more music on there. Then there's no screen, so you're like trying to click through it to get to the
I did
songs.
have one of those actually. Before there was like iPhones and stuff.
Yeah, it was an iPod, wasn't it? Yeah, that's
like the little silver ones with like the big round button in the middle.
That's what I had on my cardio.
Yeah, I did used to have one of those.
Yeah. Sure, I've used a Discman once, but every time I stood on the treadmill, it just banged a CD off the thing. Do you remember Discman?
Yeah, I had one of those as well. Oh god, like the round thing with the CDs.
Yeah. It's fucking good for nothing because every time you moved, it just bounced off the thing. Oh dear.
Fun times. Okay, that was that one.
A few different. I just clipped a few random ones into this one. There's actually quite a few in there.
Oh yeah, there's some good ones here. Should we just go from the top?
Yeah, go on then.
Opinions on metformin.
Very handy.
Yeah.
2-word answer. Do a better one-word answer. Good.
Good, use it.
Good. 2-word answer. Very handy. I think metformin's really good. I think even with that, just stepping back and looking at what a lot of people doing. You see these mad people on YouTube that are like trying to live to like 170 and that. You've seen some of them?
No,
and they're like proper like life hackers trying to hack every little angle of life.
Trying to optimize everything.
To try and live as long as physically possible.
Okay.
They're all taking metformin. So I think even like without looking into it, that must be a good idea then.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah, keeping your blood sugars under control, especially while you're pushing up through your off season, for keeping a little bit of sensitivity there.
Yeah.
There's just so much benefits to that, to not letting your body slow down when it goes into a growth phase and stuff. Really trying to drag that out. It's quite handy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because obviously when you're pushing food, you can get insensitive sensitivity can kind of drop down a little
bit more resistant, especially as you put body fat on and stuff. So just keeping your sensitivity higher is going to be better for just overall function and longevity of an off season, really.
Isn't it quite good for like gut health as well? Metformin.
Yeah. It is. Yeah. I was going to go into an example, but I won't bother just because the person won't want me discussing it. But yeah, it can be quite handy for that. I have noticed with people that sometimes struggle going to the toilet, if they use that, it sometimes seems to be quite helpful.
Yeah. And also people, obviously, that have with PCOS as well, it can be quite good with the insulin sensitivity side of things.
Yeah, because they're quite insulin resistant. So PCOS, it's very handy, which is quite common.
Yeah. Although the doctors are I've suggested it to a few clients and doctors are like very hesitant to.
They seem to only hold it back for when people are trying for babies. Quite a lot is what I've noticed. Some doctors not, some doctors not, but if you're trying for a baby, they'll usually be a bit more sparing with it.
Right. Interesting. Favourite federation? I feel like this is obvious for us.
Yeah, we're going to say PCA.
Yeah.
only federation. Only federation.
It is though, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
It's just the best one.
Yeah, it's fucking easy the best, isn't it? There's like, why would you compete anywhere else? Yeah, I agree with that. And a lot of federations are dropping off now, I think, as well. NFM's gone now. And some of the others seem to be dying, where PCA seems to be moving forward a lot with things, more shows, opening natural shows.
Yeah, I just love PCA.
They have the best everything, the best show day experience, the best pictures. The judging's very square, do you know what I mean? It's very predictable what the judges, and a lot of the coaches say this, they know what they're going to get. You put an athlete on stage, you know what you're going to get. You know, they're the same judges every weekend. It's very predictable. Other federations, or we might not name, you might get different sets of judges every weekend, giving different results, different feedback, it's a bit mad, do you know what I mean? Yeah. Nobody's ever going to completely agree with all the judging at every show, because people don't know what they're looking at, let's be honest, half the fucking time. So they'll say, oh, blah, 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 blah. But the people who know what they're looking at, which you'd think the top coaches all do, they know what they're going to get, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
consistency. Definitely.
Sorry, I was just reading the question.
No, sorry, you don't have to read it. I don't have to read it.
Do you want me to read it?
Go on then.
Would love to know, someone came to you and asked you to coach them to be in the best shape of their life and wants to look like someone that competes but doesn't want to compete. Is this possible? Would you coach them the same, or how does this work? Dream client. We were saying this earlier when we saw the question.
I read it and it was like, yes, that is the perfect client.
Yeah.
So you mean to say we get to do all the fun stuff but no pressure of the stage day? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I have loads of clients that are like this, that they're basically like kind of high end lifestyle, and they love the training, they do all that, but they go through the process of bodybuilding and they look sick, and they might do a photo shoot, but they just don't want to compete, and they're
elite lifestyle. Is that what everyone's calling it?
I think that's basically it. But that's literally my who I want to work with.
That's Leah's bag. Give Leah a message. Don't give me a message. I'll give Leah a message.
But you said you love them clients as well.
Yeah, I love them. I've got a few of them that just live like that. Yeah, live like that, and they're fucking class.
Yeah, and also you can build in a little bit more flexibility. Like if you're not getting on stage, you can still do your meals out, your holidays.
Oh yeah, 100%.
You can do all that as well.
Especially if you live it. Fucking hell.
Yeah.
Sometimes a lot of these people that think like this, a lot of the time in the back of the head, they do want to compete. But I think they don't want to fully commit to it.
Yeah.
They're maybe a bit worried that they might.
Yeah, and
not do what they want to do. Yeah. So I'll get a lot of these who say this, and then 6 months later,
they're like, I want to compete.
They go, actually, when they see the body actually doing what it's meant to be doing, they'll say, well, I've been thinking, and I'm like, no surprise there.
Yeah, I get some people message that are like, oh, I'm looking at coaching, but like I don't. And do you do not bodybuilding coaching? And I'm like, yeah, like that's
the main thing that I do.
Yeah, that is the main thing that I do. Kind of people that are like in this position. But just touching on it, says, how does it work?
Oh yeah.
Like it's the same process, isn't it? Like you're obviously going through your fat loss phases, you're going through your reverse, you go through your build. You're basically the same process as bodybuilder. Yeah. But you don't necessarily have to maybe take it to the same. Yeah,
unless you want to. But then there's just no stage bit at the end. You could go. I've had loads of people over the years just want to get into bodybuilding condition to see if they can do it.
Oh, that's cool.
Just to see, and then they just go back to normal. I just wanted to see if I could do that. All right. Yeah. Cool.
But I think some people get a bit like, oh, is it going to be like super strict, and I'm not allowed to do this, and I'm not allowed to do that. But I think people associate bodybuilding coaching with like it being like chicken and rice, super boring. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not really like that anymore, is it?
No. So
you do basically chicken and potato as well nowadays.
Maybe with some rice cakes.
Maybe with some seasoning as well, if you're lucky.
Do you want to read this one?
Oh, go on then. There's always one, isn't there? Here we go. So a friend just competed and said that PCA is all bias and it's not about the look anymore. It's who your coach is. That gets you a placement. Oh, God. Do you think this happens? Are judges biased? This is the best bit. Do they get bribes? Is it unfair more than fair judgment? Well, no, because they wouldn't have a federation if that was the case. Fair, right, let's break it down, because this cracks me up, this. So, it's all bias. It's not about the look. It's about who your coach gets your placement. So what you'd have is, you'd have 7 judges, whatever, they'd be sat there. Let's just put this into context. You'd have 7 judges that were giving up the weekend to work for a federation, who are highly trained, know exactly what they're looking for. They're looking at a stage full of bodybuilders, and what your friend is saying that their thought process is, oh, they're coached by so-and-so, who none of the judges have any affiliation to in particular, apart from to say hello because they see him every weekend. And they think, right, I'm going to place them better because they're...
Do you not think it'll start to look a bit weird when they're like, why is that person won? That's a bit bizarre.
Well, you'd have this is the bit that I'm getting to next. You'd have an audience of 400 people sat there thinking, well, what the fuck? What, them results don't make any sense. And then it'd be turn out the door, it's because they were the coach buying all this. What the fuck? No, obviously not. Do you think this happens? I've never seen that happen.
And obviously,
I've judged a lot of bodybuilding shows as well, yeah. So I've sat on the judging panel. So I would be privy to these conversations where the other judges are going, that one's coached by fucking Sarah Wigwam. Let's stick her in there. That one's coached by fucking Terry Venables. Let's get him in there. Yeah. Like, no, the judges just place who thinks look fair, second, third, blah, blah, blah. What your friend is probably getting very confused with is the well-known coaches, surprisingly, are very good at the job. They're very, very good at the job. And they also have quite a lot of clients that compete. I'm one of these people. Yeah. So when you've got quite a lot of clients that compete and you're really good at your job and you have people with good potential come into you because you're the best coaches, guess what's going to happen?
Yeah. You're always going to place
You're always going to have good placing athletes in there because you're fucking good at it. Yeah. You've got the people to do it with and you know what the judges want because you're there every weekend. Yeah. So unfortunately, what some people's brains will then somehow twist that around to is that it's only them coaches that are getting places because they are them humans that like the federations must really... It just doesn't make any sense. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't add up. Like, unfortunately, some people do say things like that. And I've heard shit like that before, do you know what I mean? Yeah. But that's people's negative brains not able to figure out the reality of a very normal situation. Do you know what I mean? It'd be the same with anything like, unfortunately, it's subjective, so you can question it. If it was football, you'd just see the top coaches smashing the ball past all the not so good coaches and athletes every single weekend, and you couldn't question anything about it. But because it's down to some judging and it's up for argument, even whether it is or not, people just say, well, it's because of this, it's because of that. You used to work with like two bros all the time and that, and you're like, well, these coaches paid for, which I suppose is more incriminating than anything, even though I don't believe it's true. And they paid to sponsor that show. They paid 10 grand, so all their athletes did well. Right, yeah. The most successful federation in this country is the PCA, right? How would they build a brand and build a reputation and build so much popularity if all the shows were judged wrong? Yeah. That's the one thing that a federation is relying on. The one thing that they're relying on to be the most successful they can possibly be is like the results being correct on the stage, more than anything else, more than the branding, more than the pictures, more than the good tans. The one thing that they need to rely on is that there's a pretty good consensus that they was first, they was second, they was third. Otherwise, no one would put their athletes on there. There's federations with shit judging, in my opinion, and I don't think it's biased, I think they're just judging just shit. I purposely don't put my clients on their stage. Yeah. Because it's like fucking playing the lottery. You don't know what you're going to get. You put someone on there and you think, oh, what the hell? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So I don't put, or I'll disencourage people from going on their stages because I don't think they're going to get a fair shake of the rattle. Not unfair, but they're going to get judged poorly. Do you get what I mean? Okay. So, and that's why the PCA is so popular, because the judging's like, well, we were saying a minute ago, it's pretty fucking accurate. Yeah. Do they get bribes? Fucking hell. Like, how much money do you think's in this sport? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not. So the olden days, all this politics thing is from the olden days of bodybuilding, when there was politics. Have I explained this to you before? Why it actually?
No, I don't think so.
Back in the day, when the main money in bodybuilding came from supplement companies, and there was no social media, the supplement companies used to pay the federations a shit ton of money, right? Because that was the only kind of place where they got money to sponsorship.
Yeah.
So say they sponsored the Olympia, or sponsored the IFBB or whatever, they would give the bodybuilding federation shit tons of money, right? So in them days, the top athletes used to have big sponsorships, and they were the only people that got sponsored. It's all different now because it's social media.
Yeah.
So people get the money from all over social media. It doesn't really matter. There's no massive $1 million contracts anymore because, like Muscle Tech, for example, used to sponsor all the top 10 Olympians or top 7 Olympians, whatever, $1 million contracts and all these things. Right. So they needed some return for the money. If they were then paying the Olympia $100 million or whatever for the year for sponsorship, they needed their athletes to be placing better. So there was some financial implication of why that needed to happen. Or they'd go, the top athletes would then go to like the qualifiers or the post-show tours, and they'd need them athletes to be winning. So they'd be turning up in shit condition after the Olympia, beating a lot of people they shouldn't really been beating because the judging was just like, well, they need to do this, they need to do that. Right. And that did used to go on. It was a thing. But then when social media changed all of that, because nobody's getting them contracts anymore, or the few people that are, they're not relying on the placings at the shows, they're reliant on the athletes. So they might, not CMP, like who's the biggest UK supplement company or American one? We'll just go back to that. Yeah. Muscle Tech might pay an athlete $1 million a year now, but then they would be more reliant on the social media content
than their
show placings. Nobody gives that much of a shit about the show placings. It's what they can pay them to do on social media, how many followers they can have, how much traction can they have. The biggest athletes in the world are not the best bodybuilders in the world now. They're the biggest social media stars.
Right, whereas before social media, it all used to come from where they...
It all used to be reliant on the placings at the shows.
I did not know that.
So that's where the bending came into place. Right. Because then the supplement companies would lean on the federations and say they need to be getting good placings at this show.
And the supplement company were paying the shows.
And the supplement company were paying the federation and paying the shows. Yeah. So then there was a little bit of bending came into place. Right. That all vanished ages ago, 10, 15 years ago now, because the full game changed. Right, so even when you watch the Olympia now, which is where all the big money is, imaginably, all the placings are correct. Yeah. And they have been for a long time. I watch it now and I'm like, yeah, that's bang on. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And that's because it's not reliant on that. And because of social media, everyone can watch what's going on. Yeah. Everyone can watch the placings. And so, like, there'd be fucking uproar if the placings were wrong. Do you know what I mean? Because everybody's got a mouth on there. Like, fucking somebody with no profile picture or a picture of the dad's car is like, they can say whatever they want. Do you know what I mean? So, makes the sense. Federations should just get fucking crucified if there was placings that was wrong all over the place. So why would somebody who's building a brand accommodate coaches that have got no contribution to the federation of any kind? Yeah. Why would they accommodate their athletes? Yeah, it doesn't make no sense.
It doesn't bring any gain to them.
It's a flawed logic. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I could understand if they were saying it and the coaches were paying the federations. Yeah. At least, like, because they were doing that with the Two Bros thing when they were paying to sponsor shows and stuff like that and this and that. At least they had, even though I don't think that was true, at least there's a little bit of ground to it. There's a little bit of foundation to what they're saying. But like, this is just like, it doesn't even make fucking sense. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Imagine that. Imagine all the people that are judging the show being like, remembering who's coached by who, trying to give them better placings. Yeah. There's no benefit to it. Do you know what I mean? Silly. And even so, and just to go a little bit further in with that, even if, say, the judges had managed to like pay the judges themselves, the people who are running the federation, sat in the middle, it was Ryan and Warren basically, do you not think they'd be looking at all them scores coming in and then looking at the stage and being like, what's going on with our judges? Do you know what I mean? They get pulled on it because they regulate the judging. They don't just like let everything fly. If somebody's judging is like inconsistent on a permanent basis, it gets pulled. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So if all the other judges are putting somebody first and they've put them seventh, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's going to flag up.
Yeah. Anyway, that subject.
How are the ladies who don't place after the show? How do you treat them compared to those who place?
Good question. That's actually a really good question. I think we touched on this on one of the other podcasts that it fucking breaks me when people don't place and they're upset. So trying to console them and give them positive outlook to what's happened, basically. Because I had a couple of people that didn't place at the Britain. Like, do you know what I mean? There's a few of them there. all of them.
Everyone's pretty happy though, weren't
Yeah, they were still pretty happy. Even the ones that didn't place.
Yeah.
They were happy with what we managed to bring.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And they just know that to get better, they need to be a little better, and which just means a little bit more time.
Yes.
Not everybody starts at the top. People start lower down and work their way up, and unless you're really gifted, which some people are, then generally you're going to have to spend a bit of time grafting. You've dipped your toe in, you're still fitted in on stage.
Yeah.
So these are all the things that I'll tell them, which are just the truth. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And as you've seen on the show day, when everyone comes off stage,
Everyone gets spoken to. And
I start with the people that didn't place first. I don't go to the people that, and I purposely do that every time.
Yeah, you've said that to me before as well. That
I make a beeline for the people that didn't place.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be like, imagine how that would feel. So like the person who was over there was one come third, whatever, they're buzzing. They're not going to be worried that I'm talking to the person that didn't place. If the person that didn't place who's sad, and then I'm over there like fucking high-fiving the person who's won that, they're going to feel even worse, aren't they? So at every show, I always make a beeline for the people that didn't do as well first, and then make my way towards the people that are going to be happier. And how are the ladies that didn't place after the show? Everyone's doing all right, to be fair. Sometimes I have people that are really upset, and it takes them a good few weeks to break out of it. But yeah, everyone was happy with what they brought. Yeah, and I actually got some really nice messages, like thank you messages off the people that didn't place as well.
It's nice, isn't it?
I mean, the ones that do well and send them that, I like those, but the ones that didn't place that send them that like means a lot, because I know that they're kind of all right with everything. Do you know what I mean? Because first person to get shot is always the coach, isn't it? Yeah. It's always the coach. You know what I mean? It could have been this, could have been that, but I think when people have brought the best, and they know it's the best and it's not good enough yet, that's all right.
So you just need time, don't you? Because I think sometimes it's easy you look at some of the first timers that are going in and they look like they've been competing for years.
Vets, I know.
And they're like winning pro cards. I think sometimes it can be hard as like, well, I can imagine it can be hard as a first time, as like someone that's maybe a bit newer to bodybuilding and being like, oh, well, like, why are they, like, am I not doing good enough? But I think it's just...
Those people are so rare.
Yeah, you just got to be patient with it. And they might have been training for like years and years and years like a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
Even though it's the first year competing, they could have been bodybuilding for 7-8 years for all you know.
Yeah,
so
exactly
you just got to take your time with it a bit, haven't you?
Yeah, it takes years. Yeah. Like, just because they're a first timer as well as you, don't mean to say that. Like, I had that same situation this year. I had one girl that had been doing bodybuilding training, and she looked phenomenal as well. But she'd only been bodybuilding training for 10 months. Yeah. And she didn't eat any form of bodybuilding diet before that. She's quite genetically gifted, actually. The fact that we got her on stage in 10 months was something in itself. And she fitted in, do you know what I mean? She come right near the top at the British. She come near the top at the qualifier at the first timers. But I had to say that to her. I had to say, like, because like so-and-so was, and then won the British and what have you. And I'm like, but they've been bodybuilding training for 4 years. Yeah. You've been bodybuilding training for 10 months. Think where you're going to be in the next couple of years. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
And they were. It's not like we'd put them on prematurely either. They were ready. They were developed to look good, but the body just sometimes has a little bit of that more harder. You know, when you've been training longer under the weights and all the rest of it, and it just has that bit better look to it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
So, but yeah, personally, I make a beeline for the people who get the lower down placings at the shows, just to try and make sure they're all right before I see everybody else.
Yeah, which I think is nice.
It's human.
Yeah.
It's fucking human, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it my turn to talk this one? Do you want me to say this one?
Yeah, sorry, I was just reading it.
That's all right. So, how to know if you are ready to commit to another prep. First prep was with a coach with no experience. Prepping women and felt like I had a bad experience. Very high cardio, very low calories. Sometimes that does happen anyway. With no post-comp support, that's not ideal. In a better spot now, and with Amy. Oh, so she's with us anyway. With Amy coaching, but how to get over the prep scaries.
Oh, prep scaries.
Oh, scaries. You'll fucking love this prep.
Well, I was going to say, you'll be all right this time because you're in decent hands too.
Yeah, Amy's a fucking good coach. But do you want to answer this? Because we went through this, no?
What, as in with my prep?
With me and you in 2021 when you'd had a rough one in 2018.
Oh, yeah, I had a bad first prep.
2018, was it? Yeah, they had a really bad first prep. So when we did our first prep, you thought you was fucking walking on air, didn't you?
Yeah, I did my first prep and I was like, what is going on here? I didn't even feel like I did a diet.
When we prepped, yeah?
Yeah, I think we were on... I don't think I even did diet for the last 6 weeks, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I think it's just like, you know, if you've if you've had no post-comp support, like, you're not going to be in that boat again. So I just think, like, you're in a completely different position. You know, you can't get worse, can it really? That's what I always think. Like, you're not, if you've done that and you've managed to get on stage with that experience, then imagine how you're going to be this time.
I get these all the time.
Yeah.
I get, as you can imagine, I've had fucking loads and loads and loads of them. And they're so happy.
Yeah.
These people are so happy. And for me, I'm just doing normal prep. Like, sometimes I'll think, that was a bit of a rough one.
Yeah.
And they're like buzzing off their head. They're just like, I feel like I've not even done a prep. And then the buzzing post show, and like, I love it because they're so happy, me.
Yeah.
Because they're used to such a bad experience. Anything else is a good experience to them. So, if it truly was your coach's fault why you did all that cardio and your calories was so low, and then obviously there's no post-show support, there's no excuse for that. But because some people do have to get quite long calories.
I was literally just going to say, sometimes, like, you can't really...
Sometimes you got to dig, do you know what I mean? But it doesn't mean to say you're going to be digging for 20 weeks. Usually that bad digs for like a couple of weeks near the end, and it just, if to get the stubborn fucking bits off. But I think you're going to have a good prep and enjoy yourself. So welcome to the team, whoever is sending this. I probably know it is. I've been talking to them anyway, but obviously you're anonymous, so I don't know.
Yeah. I was going to say something and I can't remember what it was. It's gone out my head. How do you deal with hormones that are all over the place that affect fat loss?
Assuming they're probably talking about thyroid, I'm assuming.
I was just going to say that. Because that's really the only...
Yeah, I mean, sometimes obviously the lady hormones are a bit all over the shop and sometimes a bit thingy, but like, that's not always something you can always deal with. That's sometimes you've got to see a doctor if something's really wrong, like really wrong. Thyroid's usually the thing that's mainly going to contribute towards your fat loss. And
I'm guessing this person's had a blood test then if they're saying the hormones
I would assume
are all over
so,
the place. But the first thing I'd say is probably, if you haven't, then
get a blood test
just to see what's actually going on.
How do you deal with hormones that are all over the place that affect fat loss? Usually, it's an open-ended bastard.
I know, it's a bit of a broad question, isn't it?
Yeah, thyroid can be run down quite a lot after you've done a lot of dieting. So, like, some people's thyroids will be crap, but there's a lot of factors to thyroid, really. Like, depending on how far you look into it, if you're looking into the antibodies as well, because there can sometimes your thyroid might be showing okay, but your antibodies might be screaming inside, which there's going to be a couple of things flagging up on that. That can affect fat loss, and if that's a bit all over the shop, your blood test might not be accurate, because from what Dr. R spoke to anyway, you might get a nice picture of your thyroid on a snapshot of when they've took the test. Yeah. But throughout the day, it's a little bit all over the place, going up and down. And he said if you tested it 12 hours later, you might get a completely different reading, because it's kind of like spit firing a little bit as opposed to anything else. That's how he explained it. So maybe you might want to have a deep dive into that. If your thyroid's just running a bit on the low side because you've been dieting for a long time, it's just getting away from dieting for a long period of time until it sorts itself out, which might be faster or slower, and then you can kind of diet back to a decent point and get yourself kind of sat. And you want to be testing that running through the off season and leading into the show. Thyroid support supplements, very handy. Some people just need them full stop to supplement the thyroid. Gluten can be quite shit on the thyroid, so if you're somebody who is suffering with that a little bit, getting your gluten right down, and even dairy sometimes, getting your gluten right down can be quite handy to let the thyroid thrive a little bit more, because from a lot of cases it can be like attacking the thyroid in some of these times when you've got like, I don't like to go too far into these because I'm not a fucking doctor, do you know what I mean? But this is just from my experience of talking to some doctors that I've worked with and clients that have had the problems with it. They've had a lot of antibodies flagging up on the thyroid, and it's sort of like feels like it's getting attacked. And when they've cut all the gluten away a few months later, and a couple of other supplements involved as well, them antibodies are starting to calm and stop from lifting up and things like that, and then the body starts seeming to function a lot better. So that's not going to be the case with everybody, but with some people it definitely seems to be the case. I'm not going to talk in absolutes because, again, I'm not a medical professional, but this is just from what I've seen. Don't know if that's answered your question, but you need to probably be working with a coach who's... Coaches shouldn't be giving medical advice. I'm against that. I've said that a million times. I think you need to speak to somebody who's medically qualified if you're really going in on problems that you've got. But working with a coach who at least has got links to some kind of medical access. Like with me with Atlas, I can speak to people. Do you know what I mean? or I can speak to someone like Dean St. Mart, who's like a bit more qualified and educated. I can message them, or
a bit more kind of support.
Yeah,
from the
and then I
outside.
can kind of something that I'm seeing is not quite right. We can lean on somebody that's.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm coaches like saying you should be doing this, showing that, and then like medicating and stuff. I've heard of some stories like, like, oh well, let's get you on some T3 and T4 and just leave you on that year round, and like, there's a red flag if you want one. Do you know what I mean? That's a fucking red flag. Yeah. You shouldn't be getting prescribed nothing. So yeah, get the right coach, and if not, speak to some doctors is what I'd say on that one.
Yeah, and then maybe come away from dieting if you're finding you're actually hitting a bit of a sticking point with fat loss. Yeah, maybe you just actually need a break from like pushing with dieting.
And so many people do this, and they don't realize, like, even with females, like for me, prepping every single year. So like, let's just do October, and then we'll go again next October, and then next October. You're gonna start, unless you're a little bit abnormal or blessed, your body's going to start down regulating. So fuck, we was having this conversation earlier, aren't we? I am not keen on women doing preps any sooner than every 18 months. And even more ideal every 2 years. Every 2 years works beautiful. You can squeeze it in every 18 months and it will work, but every 2 years I think it's absolutely amazing, which is what we'll have done this time. And I think we're really going to see the benefits from that. So I quite love the natties, because they like don't want to prep any sooner than every 2 years. And I can get the body real good.
In a nice spot. Well.
Real nice spot. Body fat back to a lovely place. Hormones are in a lovely place. Body's nice and responsive. We've got a nice amount of time to prep. Just works really well. I feel like for a female who not struggles to lose fat, but you can't just take loads of fat off every single week and hammer them with gear. I think every 18 months to 2 years perfect. So if you are doing every year and your body's slowing down, that's why.
Yeah, agree.
I love how I know you're trying to read them words because you don't know what they are.
No, I can. Masteron, I know what that is.
Yeah. Leah's not had much dabbles with Masteron, I tell you that for now.
Can't say I've tried that. Masteron for off-season gains, no comment, no clue.
No, I don't. Honestly, we had this with the Primo and Anavar thing. I think a little bit of Anavar usually is as far as you really want to go. Primobolan, Masteron, NPP. I know women have been led towards this a little bit. If you want to risk using that at a possible change to your voice, which is mainly the thing that you're going to see the problems with, crack on. But I won't advise it. I'm not saying you're definitely going to get them side effects, because nothing's definite, but there's a good chance you're going to see more problems with that, and especially the fact enanthate means it's got a long half-life, and it's going to be in your system for a long time. You're going to have a lot more chance of accumulating side effects because it sits higher in your system, in your blood, with the steroid in there. Do you know what I mean? So I'd probably swear of that. If not, how much gains are likely from VAR in off-season and GH? I'll use Anavar sometimes in off-season with people if they're choosing to use some steroids. I'd rather use that. Are you going to get more gains from other steroids? Yeah, probably. Are you going to possibly get more side effects from other steroids? Yeah. So
kind of go hand in hand, don't they?
Yeah, they kind of go hand in hand. It's kind of obvious, really. But if you want to risk it, I know a lot of people like the Primo in the off-season and stuff, but like we've covered previously, I do notice that people will see more side effects, so I don't like to recommend it. If somebody says to me, Dan, I want to use Primo, and I say there's more chance of side effects, and they go, I don't care, I'll go, all right. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, your decision.
Well, yeah, if they're a bit younger, like young, I'll probably try and twist their arm a little bit more if they're young. But if they're like older and they're fucking grown people and you've told them, then that's up to them, isn't it? Yeah. And GH is a lovely one, to be fair. Nice little back burner to sit there. Obviously, it's not as rapid as all the other stuff.
Yeah.
No side effects from it. If anything, possibly good for your health in some instances, especially if you're a little bit older, into your kind of mid-30s and 40s and stuff, as that'll naturally drop off as you get older. It's not a bad thing to have in there.
Good for your collagen.
Good for your collagen. Good for your collagen.
Anti-Asian.
Good for your collagen and your university. It's not a bad thing at all. I forgot what I was going to say now.
Sorry, interrupted you.
Just like 1 to 2 IUs. You don't really need anything more than that. 1 to 2 IUs is plenty.
Would you recommend Anavar for a female starting out their bodybuilding journey in their early 50s?
I don't see why not. I don't know about starting off your bodybuilding journey.
I was just looking at the starting. Maybe not the first thing you'd go to.
Maybe not before you get your gym membership, but I'd definitely put a bit of groundwork in there first. But like, Yeah, as long as you're checking your blood work and making sure you're okay, because it can have a little bit of side effects. I mean, are you going to see massive health problems if you do a little bit, 6 to 8 weeks, maybe once a year, maybe twice a year? I doubt it. I think you'd see a lot more problems if you was a normal person that went on the piss twice a year.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah.
But I would still keep an eye on your blood markers, if just with the age being a little bit further on, and God knows what you've been up to that point in your life. You might have been living a bit of a hectic life up to that point.
Yeah.
So I'd be maybe careful with that in that aspect.
Just make sure you know what you're doing with the time frames, I guess, and the dose and stuff like that.
Yeah, just like everything in it, just don't take the piss.
Yeah.
Just don't fucking take loads of it, and don't take it for massive periods. Like everything in life, like
everything in moderation.
Like my mother taught me about Anavar. Everything in moderation, son. Everything in moderation.
Same with the drugs.
Yes. So what my mother taught me about chocolate and crisps, I'm just applying it to Anavar, really.
Oh, this is a big question.
Yeah, I reckon I know this is actually.
Sorry, reading it.
Yeah, I can just read it if you want. So junior bodybuilding, bikini junior, MP, so men's physique
I feel like we've
junior.
done this question before.
Yeah, I think it's probably the same person. Where is junior figure? If we've not done this question before, then we've definitely spoken about it.
I've asked about this before, they've said.
And I've been told that you should already have the density required for figure. I'm not sure I was told that. Regardless of age. Yet categories which require less muscle have their own junior division. It doesn't make sense. Numbers.
There's not enough numbers to split it.
It's all about numbers.
Yeah.
There's as soon as there becomes a shit ton of 18, 19, 20-year-old figure girls banging on the door, wanting thingy, because the classes are fucking stacked and there's 10, 15 in the classes, then there's place for a junior figure. Yeah.
Because I guess if you look at the number of, say, 19, 20, 21-year-old bikini athletes versus the number of that age figure, there's going to be a lot more that age in bikini, just because obviously it's naturally a slightly less muscular
Bikinis have height
class.
splits at every show.
Yeah.
You might see a height split at figure a couple of times a year at the max.
Yeah.
So that's the answer to that
You'd end up with
question,
like one or two people in like a figure category, which isn't worth it.
And then it's split, diluting down what actually turns up for the figure category, which at a lot of shows is sometimes not that much.
Yeah, and then your standard's going to
there's already an entry point because it's tone figure, athletic figure, thingy figure. So when you look at figure at what figure actually is, there's already an entry point for it, which is tone figure. And I know you could say the same about bikini, but that's a different animal altogether. It's a different thing. And they've got 2 breaks there, but the entry point is that. And how many people do you see that win the tone figure British at 20, 21, 22, 19? I can think of an handful of people. Do you know what I mean? I've coached a few of them people. I know Sanaya, she was only 20 when she won the British, was she?
Young.
Charlie, when she won the British years ago, and I had her like back when she first started, she was 21 or something when she won the NABA British against about 35 odd women or whatever. So like, and she was natural. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it's I'm not saying I'm against it. I want like if they brought out a junior figure and there was a requirement for it, I'd be all against it. I'm not against it. I'm just saying the reasons why there's no need for it at the minute. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
That's that one.
Is that it? Oh no.
I don't know actually.
Wait, I think it is.
We had like 20 odd questions. We can't work our way through them. I think we have.
Oh no, I think that's all yours, and then I sent some as well.
Oh yeah, you've got some there. Look.
Is that all of them?
Yeah, there's another 4 there.
Oh yeah, okay.
We covered a lot of them in one thing, didn't we? In one
I
block.
feel like that heart rate one is an old one actually that I accidentally sent.
Oh, is it actually?
Yeah.
You read one of them then, and I'll see.
Do you think you should tell your coach when you're not happy with them, say they can improve, or just leave? I think.
I laughed at this one when you read it, didn't I? I think
they can improve.
You say what you think before I say what I think.
I think you should always be honest with your coach if you. I think there's a difference between being honest with your coach if there's something that you're unhappy with and telling them how to do their job better, because they're the coach at the end of the day and they know what's going to be best for you.
Them are 2 different things. Yeah. But if you don't feel like something's working with you or it's not sitting right, then say that.
Yeah, that was what I was getting at then. Like if you feel like, actually this isn't working for me, I'm not enjoying that, then you need to communicate that.
I'm struggling with this because
X, because your coach can't read your mind, so they need to know if you're unhappy with something.
Yeah. I think it's a little bit of a not correct comment, let's call it, to say so they can improve.
Yeah, so they can improve.
Like, it's a bit arrogant to say that, I think, in a way. And I definitely don't think that a coach would appreciate that if you said that. Because the reason you're with them to start with is they're already good at what they're doing.
Yeah.
And obviously coaches are always improving themselves. Every time you work with people, you're
Yeah.
improving yourself.
Yeah.
Like that's a normal thing. But I think more like to accommodate what you might need would be a better thing.
Yeah.
Because I'll have some people say to me, I think one thing I'm actually good at is reading people. So I seem to be able to sit with that all right. And like, they're not sitting right with that, and I'll change it. But if you just said to them, I'm struggling with this because X, Y, Z, a good coach would be like, right, here's another way we can do it.
Yeah, that's what you want as a coach though. Like as a coach, you want people to communicate with you and be honest, because otherwise, like you can't read people's minds. Like I always think you get the best results with people when they communicate properly with you, they're honest with you, they reply to you on time, like they do all these things, because then they can help you be the best that you can be. Because
that's a positive thing.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? Whereas the way this is worded is a little bit negative in a negative way, really. Whereas I think maybe, so I would say you need to work on your communication, and then they can accommodate what you might like or not. Yeah. Because in some instances, some people have said some stuff to me and it's like, I can't really work like that. It's a bit not really my thing. This coach over here might be better at that. Yeah. So do you get what I mean? And I've done that a few times. And that's not a negative thing. It's just like, if someone's trying to make me work the way they want to work, then I'm just doing they're telling me what to do. What you mean. And then I'm doing it so that they will then do it. Do you get what I mean? And by that point, we're dead. Do you know what I mean?
It's not really
It's not going to work from that point onwards. Yeah. And I have to have this conversation a couple of times with people.
I guess the only thing I would say with that is if your coach is like, if you're not happy with your coach because of something like they're taking like 4 days to reply to your check-in, then that's kind of, obviously you're not going to be very happy with your coach in that instance. But if it's just something that's like,
the way they set the meals up for the day.
Like, I don't really like this meal or whatever, then that can be like work, can't it?
It'd work better for me if I had 3 meals a day instead of 5. Or I think I'd probably work better if I had 4 training days a week instead of 5. Or like things like this. Like, so, like for me personally, generally I'm a 5-day training guy. Yeah. Right? But if someone says to me, I'm too tired after 5 days, it doesn't work, I can only train 4 days a week, I'm not like, well, fuck off then.
Well, that's what I did with you, I think. I was like, I can't do 5 days.
Actually, you've done that, And
I was like, can I do 4? And you're like, yeah, that sounds...
4's fine. I don't think we could do 3. I don't think that's enough. But 4 we can definitely work with. Or if someone's like, can I do 6 because it's better for me mentally? I'd be like, we'll try it and we'll see what happens. We'll maybe reduce your volume and just make it the same. Do you know what I mean? Like I can be quite bendy in a lot of instances, not physically, definitely be a little bit mentally bendy. Yeah. As long as I think it's going to work. Do you know what I mean? But I don't think for them to improve, but I think for them to accommodate you, just see if they're going to accommodate you or not, and then you'll know whether to leave or not.
Yeah. But I do kind of feel like if there was something that if a client was leaving because they weren't happy with something, I feel like I would also want to know.
Yeah.
Because otherwise...
As long as you're aware that they're not happy with something.
Yeah, because I wouldn't want a client to just leave and be like, I'm not happy with the way that that's being done. Yeah. And me not know, because then I'd want to make it... I'd want to correct it.
Yeah, that will have happened to us loads of times though, won't it? Do you know what I mean?
Because people don't want to say, they just think, I'm just leaving because of this or that, but actually there's another reason.
And it's actually not necessary. It could have just been communicated a little bit better.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, true.
Okay. Best training tips for delts. All DW clients have WAM delts.
I've always heard that for years. People have said that for fucking years. I always know Dan's clients because they've always got big round delts. And I don't even know why it is. I just know that they've got rounder delts than everyone else. So I've noticed it, but I don't know what it is that we do.
Don't know what it is, it just happens.
Because you want them to have big round delts, don't you? Yeah. I think not sucking people down too far and like in certain ways of dieting, do you get what I mean? Yeah. We're very like picky the way we diet, aren't we? And I mean, picky is like we chip at it.
Yeah, I literally said this to you earlier. The way you do it is really good because you don't just like push without any lap back. It's like push and then pull a bit and push.
Yeah, and the pullback's always pre-planned in, so we don't end up running down too far before we fucking notice anything's gone wrong. So I think because we just chip away at the diet, we chip at the weight, and people say there's this like what do they call it? Like this DW bubbly look, they call it. So all our girls have got like a bubbly look to them. And I think that comes from the same thing, just chipping away at the fat with, instead of like trying to fucking take too much at once and ramming them into the ground to try. Because like you might get away with that with a big bodybuilder that's fucking full of gear, but you're not going to get away with that with a girl that's not taking anything. All in that. Do you know what I mean? Like you're just not going to do that. So I think that's the reason. I think the reason that they've got good delts is because of the way we go into the shows, not anything we do is particularly with training or off season. I don't think, because I don't over volume anyone's delts too much. I don't think. It depends what other people give a volume. I'm not sure, but I
don't feel like I have loads of like
not an excessive amount of delts
in my program.
No, I'll bring it in for people that are struggling with delts. Do you know what I mean? I'll change the training around to accommodate that. And I am a fan of drop sets and things like that, and like things like that. But I think it's just the way we diet people. I think
best training tips.
Best training tips for it. If you're struggling with delts and having good delts, fucking loads of lateral volume.
Yeah.
It just works.
And you can whack laterals on the end of like everything. Your leg, because you can recover, can't you, from your laterals?
Yeah, it's just
so
laterals,
quickly.
Isn't it? Yeah.
So you can whack them on the end of like your leg sessions. Like you could hammer like loads of sets of variations of lat raises like 3-4 times a week probably if you wanted to.
Yeah, easily. And one thing I'll do is like if they've got good legs and lower body, I'll just pull one of the lower body sessions out and replace it with another.
Right.
So so where you would normally do say you did like pull push legs upper lower, which is like quite a common split, and you'd have that every week. So then you'd have legs in there twice a week when you've got legs and lower. I would remove the lower session on one of the weeks. So you was doing over 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I'd remove one of the one weeks, and on that week I'd do pull, push, legs, pull, push, or push, pull, whichever you don't want to do at the end of the week. And then the next week you do pull, push, legs, upper, lower. So
got you.
You get what I mean? Yeah. So you do 3 sessions out of 2 weeks instead of 4 sessions out of 2 weeks. Then you get an extra delt session in there as well.
Basically just bumping the frequency frequency a little bit.
And then to go even further, you could just do that every week.
Yeah.
Pull, push, legs, pull, push, push, legs, pull. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I've got some girls at the minute where they're trying to bring the shoulders up and we've basically just whacked on lat raises like multiple times a week.
Yeah, rack runs is a good one.
You spoke about this on the podcast.
Yeah, I do a lot of rack runs. I like that, especially the girls that are trying to bring them up, which is just fucking hammering them with laterals at the beginning, ascending and descending sets.
I do think like high, like intensifying that high rep stuff works quite well as well for like.
Yeah, I think it just works better for small body parts in a way. Do you know what I mean? Works well for biceps, triceps, delts, actually quads as well. To be fair, works really well on quads, which is a big body part. But some kind of high volume, non-compound type exercises is really good.
I like training like that, like high volume drop sets. Like it's a bit more,
a bit
less standing. I hated the standing around in the gym.
Yeah, it is a lot more fun. That's why I try and get it in people's plans where I can, whether it's on leg extensions or some cluster sets on fucking hack squats or pendulum or leg press or somewhere evil. Yeah. I seen Emily tag me earlier today. DW hates you if he puts cluster sets in your workout. Pass it on.
I've got
that must mean I hate all my clients.
Cluster set pendulum.
Yeah, sorry.
What was you thinking when you wrote that?
Pure
you have to get off the pendulum every time because you can't sit there because your quads are like so pumped. You're like getting on and off.
They're fucking great, aren't they?
I like going. I just like high reps. I just enjoy it as much more.
I got on with it more.
Yeah.
So I didn't do high reps. Yeah, I did do high reps in sets anyway, but I really loved drop sets. For years, I just drop setted everything, every exercise.
Like feeling good today, I'll whack an extra few drop sets.
Yeah, I do it on every exercise, me, for years.
Yeah.
I do like 7 working sets in a training session, but everyone would be a fucking triple drop set.
Just keep going.
So it wasn't that low volume.
Yeah. Last question. Going to Amsterdam 3 weeks post my final show, best advice on how to manage things?
By 3 weeks post show, usually all right.
Yeah, and I also think as well, I feel like people freak out about going away, but I don't actually think it's that.
No.
Like, don't overcomplicate it. It's not. Yeah. It's not too hard.
Just try and stick to some high protein meals 3 to 4 times a day.
Yeah.
When you pick some meals that you are eating from wherever you're eating it.
Yeah.
And the rest will kind of fall into place.
Yeah.
You'll have a bit of fun. 3 weeks post show, the madness is dropped off your body a little bit usually. That's usually where the key turning point is, between 3 and 4 weeks.
Yeah.
If you go into Amsterdam, you're probably not going for long, because it's Amsterdam.
like a weekend break
Nobody
or
really
something,
goes
isn't
for a
it?
week, do they? I
No.
don't think. And you'll probably be stoned anyway.
Yeah.
So you just fall to
Well,
sleep.
when I went on holiday after, because I went pretty soon after competed, when like I think mine was like a week after, I just did like basically protein and like veg through the day, like breakfast, lunch, bit of fruit, took a protein shake with me and had that in the middle of the afternoon. And then dinner, I'd have something like, if I wanted to have some pasta or whatever, I'd have something a bit more like that in the evening. And then if I wanted to have like an ice cream or something, I just shared it with Will. So I got Will to get it. And then I just had a bit. So I wasn't like having the whole
Yeah, so
thing.
Will copped it.
Yeah, so Will basically got all the rubbish and then I just had a bit of it.
Sounds like good for Will.
Yeah, I know. Loving it.
Yeah, it's just being a little bit smart, innit?
Yeah.
And we can see who the person is. That's not a hidden one. So
Yeah.
they seem like a smart person.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Oh, good.
That'll
Wrapped up.
round us up on questions.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, there was some more that I actually missed off, but because I thought there'd be too many to do in one go. I can have a look if you want me to.
Go on then.
Oops, what was that noise? NGL. Who's
See if
put
it's
that?
another.
I hate
got
you.
another one?
I hate you both. What? Told you my memory was bad. Would you go for personality or looks? I don't think that's a real question.
I got that one as well today. You think looks matter more than personality?
Yeah.
That's a bot.
Your
What about my outfit one?
outfit.
I got a nice outfit message.
You didn't tell me about this.
I did.
Did you?
Love your outfit. Where are your jeans and sweater from?
Oh, right. Yeah. It's not a real one, yeah.
No, it is.
Oh, I thought you meant it was a bot.
No, that must be a real one because I'm wearing jeans and a sweater.
But how do they know?
It's a person
But have they seen you?
from my Instagram.
Oh, you put a selfie on?
Yeah.
Okay, that's less freaky now.
I don't
I
actually
was
know where
more
they're
worried
from.
then. I was like, well, I'm checking the fucking car park before we leave. Most memorable show and why as a coach and a competitor? I don't know about as a coach. Universe 22 was a good one for me. I love that one. That's you. The one. When
That's my favourite ever show.
You was in
that
it.
one.
Amy was in it.
Yeah.
I just remember because I was not new to online coaching, but like that was one of my first bigger shows, I suppose. I think the Britain 21 was my biggest show at that point, and then the next one to come was the Universe 22.
Right, yeah.
And I remember clear as day there was 13 of you in it. I remember the number, and I just remember going through all the check-ins in the morning in my hotel room,
Yeah.
and I was just fucking buzzing with every single one, and I skipped down the corridor to the show. I skipped because I think it was is it at Coventry where it was attached? Was the hotel attached to the venue? Is that right?
I honestly can't even remember where that
I
show
think it
was.
was at Coventry, and the hotel was actually in the venue. It was attached to the side of it. And I fucking skipped down the corridor in the morning. I remember skipping. I was so happy. I was just absolutely buzzing. And obviously, it was at that point where everyone had kind of come out the British. And everyone was just, so many of you was just pro physiques. I think we won 5 pro cards that day.
That's mad.
Out of 13, we had 5 pro cards.
Yeah.
I think it was 5 pro cards and 6 class wins or something like that. And then we got like first, second, and third intoned. Like,
Yeah.
it was just fucking mad. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think there was like just you in athletic short and you won the class. Just Charlie in athletic tall and we won the class.
Yeah.
Amy was in pro figure. She won the pro figure. It was
Yeah.
a pro figure debut. Like, it was just one of them days that was
Yeah.
just fucking epic. Do you know what I mean? I love all the big shows and there's always really good results. But for some reason, that one was just a little bit like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just really loved it. My other favourite big show was probably the one that we just had the other week, the Britain 24.
The British, yeah.
As an athlete, doing the Top de Colmar in 2017, which is a French pro invitational thing so I did the Universe Pro in 2016.
Yeah.
Then this French promoter messaged me saying, will you come out and do our show? So this was like March,
Yeah.
I think it was. And I only had 11 weeks to get ready for it. I went to Jamaica and fucking got fat as fuck.
Oh, I think you
And then I had like 11 weeks to diet down. It was the hardest prep of it. It was a hard prep. I was on like 50 grams of carbs for 7
Oh,
weeks
God.
straight, pretty much, doing 2 hours of cardio. Anyway, that wasn't the reason. They paid for us to go out. They paid for the flights. So I couldn't not do the show. They paid for the hotels.
Yeah.
They paid for everything. It was really good. And like, people don't know what the show is, and I didn't know what this show was. It's still running now, but it looks a little bit dated actually. And it's in this big fucking warehouse in the middle of nowhere on the border of like France, and some other countries that border France.
So whatever countries they are.
Sweden or so, I don't know. It's like right on the border. Colmar's in a place that borders 3 countries in Europe. It's France and something else. I can't remember. I just remember it was French predominantly. And it was great. There was all these really well-known, like, non-IFBB pros. Brandon Curry actually guest posed it, Mr. Olympia.
Oh, nice.
He did the guest pose in there. They had him out there. There was 3,000 people in the audience.
Wow.
Biggest show you've ever seen. Absolutely fucking enormous. And it was mad, but everything was foreign. And I was the only fucking English person in it. And I had no one to talk to. All the other ones flew like from teams, because in Europe it's real mad. The governments pay them.
Right.
To like compete. It's like they're on wages and stuff. So it's like the Hungarian team, Belgian team, German team, all this stuff. And then it was just me, English. Do you know what I mean? But the thing that I remembered the most was all the call outs were in French. I didn't have a fucking so my number was something like, I don't know, say like, I think it was 67 or something, or some big number. I didn't know what that was in French either, so I couldn't even listen out for my number. So, but the maddest other thing was they'd got all these pros in from like all these other different like non-IFBB like pro things. I mean, so these guys, what they did was, instead of doing the IFBB, there was good quality, but they did these like circuits, these European circuits of all these shows that you wouldn't even hear of, but they're picking up like $5,000, $3,000, $7,000. There's big prize money in these shows for what there was. And none of them was French apart from one guy who'd 10 pro in the Colmar show. They'd 10 him up and sent him up from the amateurs. So there was one French guy, and there was probably like, how many was in the lineup? I'd say like 15, 17 or something. I can't remember. Quite a lot. Nobody knew French. So nobody knew what they were fucking doing. And you know which way the poses go, but you're still not sure of it when you hear it in a foreign language, even if they've said something that means do the next pose. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
So they'd have like somebody coming up and pick. So when they did the first call outs, because I was in the first call outs, they come and got, there's like people pointing at us, and I'm like, all right, yes, I'm in the first call out now.
Funny.
Yeah, it was fucked up, to be fair.
That's mad.
And you've got obviously like the anxiety of being on stage in a different country. There's nobody there. You don't know anybody. Like all these things. Yeah. And the next thing you're spinning around in circles in your underpants to French, and you don't know what the frigging hell's going on. The video's somewhere on. I'll find it. So it's on YouTube somewhere. I actually look really good.
That's mad.
Yeah. And I went hypo just before I went on stage as well. God. It was a nightmare. I couldn't get a proper pump. I just had a massive hypo. That was my most memorable contest, I think. That one.
That's
then,
cool.
Yeah, that one, and then doing the PCA British in 2019 because it was in Hull, and all my family was there and mates. And Daphne was what will she have been? 7 months old. Oh no, hold on. Like 11 months old, and I got to take her up on stage at the end of the day, and like I got some photos with her on stage cute. And that. She's just a little fucking baby thing like that. And me covering her in brown tan. That's one of my favourite. That is my favourite picture anyway of the full bodybuilding thing. Yeah. Like, it's class.
It's nice when you got like all your family and stuff there, isn't it?
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, it was good. What about you?
Probs that Universe show, like just I just loved that. I just loved what I felt like so confident in what I looked like.
Yeah.
And I had like loads of family, like loads of friends, loads of my clients came to that show. So I had like a full on crowd there.
Yeah.
And it was just so nice having everyone there. And I fully like wasn't expecting that to happen. So
that's the other good thing, innit? There was no pressure on you. Yeah,
because it was my first time. I was like, athletic, well, that's it then.
That's part of it sometimes, just the pressureless feeling of just going on stage and just doing it to see what you get. I love that. And
then obviously getting the overall as well, it was like a triple thing because it was like the class win, the overall, and the pro card.
Yeah.
So it was just, and the fact that I got to go on stage like 3 separate times, it just makes it so, because that was the only show I did.
Yeah.
So it just makes it so much better that like I just felt like I had like a really.
Yeah, you got to compete 3 times.
Yeah, it was just an amazing day.
Yeah.
So that.
Yeah, you got a gold sword, eh? Was it gold then?
Yeah, that was the first gold.
That was the first golden ones that they did. Yeah. Good idea, that gold sword.
That was great. Yeah. And then I haven't obviously done loads of shows with clients, but when Beth was the first client I prepped ever, and she won 3rd at the British. So that was like, I was so happy with that.
Yeah. I saw that somewhere the other day. I don't know where I saw it. Something come up and I just remembered it. Unless you mentioned it somewhere. I can't remember. You might have mentioned it.
Yeah, so that was like a little, I was buzzing with that.
Yeah, that's a fucking good result, that.
Yeah, I was pleased with that.
Yeah. So there we go.
That's that.
That'll wrap us up on some nice warm memories.
Yeah, I know. It's nice looking back, isn't it? And that'll probably be it now till next year. Well, not for the podcast, obviously.
The podcast will keep running because we've recorded that bloody many.
I think we are covered until next year.
Yeah, need to recoup.
Yeah, we'll work it out and see where we're at.
Yeah, we might do a Christmas special. We haven't decided yet. We'll
have some brunch.
Get some pigs in blankets and some brunch.
Yeah,
Lee's going to bring me some
I'm going to
brunch.
introduce Dan to brunch.
Yeah. Unculturized bastard.
We're going to make a podcast and brunch series.
Yeah, a brunch podcast. I could just imagine like a little...
I'll bring you all my favourite brunch foods.
Like a blanket laid out.
A little picnic blanket.
Yeah, and I'll try them.
You can rate the brunch foods. What I
Yeah, 1 to 10 on brunch
We can do a
foods.
podcast on rating the brunch food.
Yeah, and this is how we went down the avenue of a food-based podcast. Next thing, we're both 20 stone. Oh, I'm just trying some of these sausages.
Oh, fun times. But yeah, all good.
All good. City in a bit.
And make sure you like, subscribe, drop us a comment, and we're all good.
Press the button, guys. Press the button. Thanks, guys. Daphne does that all the time. What is it that they say on all the things? On all the thingies? Like and subscribe, guys. Or
Yeah.
something. Or they say something, don't they?
Like and subscribe.
Yeah,
something
Daphne,
like that.
Daphne copies off it, yeah.
Oh, that's
She watches
cute.
the little YouTubes and that. Press the like button, guys. Thumbs up, or whatever it is. Bye-bye.